The
Okay.
broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, welcome to the weekly Noyantis Usergroup meeting. Today is Monday 20th of May 2019. Myself and John are here. As always, if you've got any queries or ideas or questions or suggestions, then please feel free to raise your hand. We'll get the microphones open and we'll cover them accordingly. Now, just quickly, there's no updates been released this last week. Work is progressing well on a few of them actually. One being the next report control, one being the upcoming G security. But we did actually do I think it was last week, was it not, John, that we did a live change to the docking pane?
Yes. Works great.
Yep, so that's good. That's very good. John just quickly told me then before the start of the webinar, but I thought you guys want to hear that as well. So those who didn't see last week, it was basically we wanted to use docking panes, but we wanted to filter which parent pane, the actual content opened for. You can do it for a parent thread, so we added the facility to be able to control the parent pane as well. So that seems to work okay. A build will go out tomorrow for that, for the docking pane, so you can expect a new release tomorrow. So that's very good. Okay, now I know we've got a couple of topics to cover this week, one from Pete and one from Michael. So first to raise your hands, we'll get yours covered first. Oh, and Andreas, he was actually first. Andreas, could you show me how to use a derived base class for report wrapper? Okay, well, that's a very good question. I've got the microphone open. Hi, can you hear me?
Hey there.
Hi. Okay, so this is the report control, and you're using it as are you using it as an enhancer to one of the Clarion browsers, or do you want to manually load it?
I'm using it as an enhancer.
Yes.
And actually I have some kind of bugs or problems with my very situation, and I want to derive it so I can code around it.
Okay. Now, yours is if I remember rightly, actually, I'm just playing catch up in my mind. It's a legacy application, is that correct?
Yeah, Clarion 8.
Right. The Clarion 8 isn't a problem. We go back to Clarion 6, so there's no problem on the support of that. Now, I've got the latest here actually. Let me open one of the example applications. It's one I prepared earlier, and I can show you just what we are doing. Oh, just let me pause the Dropbox sync. We actually have Dropbox syncing our Clarion setups from machine to machine, so we're always in sync. Yep, that's just pausing. Okay, if we run this, really what you want to achieve is the equivalent of this. You're going to can you just remind me some of the queries we've had? I definitely remember we had the questions because I remember regarding the legacy, but I think I suggested you really need yours to be file loaded, if I remember correctly. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I experimented with the file loaded. However, with the size or amount of data, it kind of takes a bit of time to load. So I want to fool around with SQL queries myself in the derived base class then to get around that problem.
Okay, fine. You've got a couple of options then open to you at the raw level, if you will. Is this where they are manually loaded? Now I'll show you the code of that. I'm not suggesting you do this. I'm just showing you the alternatives. Okay, So let's just jump to that. So the simple report control. Yeah. So you've got report control, and I think in here it's an old example, but we just have a routine called load data, and it just manually loads some data. So there it is, load data. It's just a routine, and we keep calling a local procedure called add row with various parameters. Okay, that would work. You could do it this way. It would be your slowest way to get data in, but it would work. So that's it adds a row, and then in turn it will add various different data items to each cell. So we can see here that there you go. For that column, for the from, we doing a set row cell value, which row, which column, and the data value. Likewise, we do the same with a different column, and then a different column again, and so on. So that's the principle behind getting data into the report control. You might see here, you've got for each cell, you've got a value and a caption. Okay, and the very good example here is the caption is what you see on screen. So we want a date to be displayed in a particular date picture. But from a sorting point of view, we want the value to be the raw clarion date so that it sorts correctly at runtime, but it displays correctly also at runtime.
Okay.
I.e. This. So yeah, the sorting works, but the picture is also correct. So we're not looking at 791, whatever it is, that kind of thing. Okay, now what you can currently do, you can enhance a clarion control, but if you are page loaded, it works, but it's not the best, I'll be honest. So it's page loaded, and it's only got a certain number of records, so that's probably going to be okay. But if you had quite a lot of records, then any filtering you wanted to do, or locating, or highlighting, the inline filter, the inline highlight, all of those can only work on the data that is visually present within the report control. So if it's page loaded, they won't work because it's not looking at the rest of the table. So you can't really use that option. So you really do want to get the data in yourself manually. You could use data bind. Now that's probably an extreme. Let's come back one. What you could do is populate your own queue. So you could just say, okay, the data is coming from a queue. Do I have an example of this in here?
Okay, but again, in the queue, I have to populate all the records, so the filtering and everything else is working, right?
Yes, you'd want to really filter. So if you was, say, for example, you're playing about with a SQL, if you wanted to perform some kind of query on the SQL database, so instead of 20,000 records coming back, you're only going to bring back 1,000. Then of course you can perform that SQL, bring the data back into a queue, and then get the report control to load from that queue.
Okay.
Now you've got, just seeing if there is the option in here, file loader, page loader, standard. No, there's not an example in there. But what I would do, let's just create a quick example for you here. We'll put it in here. That will do. And we will have it as a local queue. Actually, I'm going to call it local list, and you'll see why. Okay, I'm going to call that so I'm going to take a standard, we'll just copy one of these to start with. Oh. Okay, so local list enhanced. I'm going to take the report control off here. Okay, well, what we'll do is just create what's that? No, we don't want that. We'll come back to those in a second. I'm going to have just a local queue of data. So again, you could query into this data into a queue, something like this. Local queue data. And in here, I'm just going to have something very simple, something like a customer ID. And customer name. No. Okay. On our screen, I'll just have a standard list box. Like so. We'll call it a list. Oh, sorry, from local data. And we'll call it list data, for want of a better one. Okay. That should technically compile and run. Yep, we've got no records in there. And now I'm just going to quickly put some dummy data in there. So I'm going to tell it to, just so we can see something at runtime. Something like so. Create a button, just so we can populate some data in it. Okay, now I will explain the other things which I definitely think will help you, but let's just let's cover these examples to start with. So under here we have populate data. I'm going to free up the queue, and then I'm just going to loop x hash equals 1 to 500. And clear local, clear data dot customer ID can equal x hash, and the name can just equal something like customer and x hash. Something like so. In case we put more data in there in a minute. Okay, so this will get us, so far it's only Clarion. But here we should have some, I want random records actually thinking about it so I can see it actually changing. Went a long way around there then. Yeah, sorry, I wanted, in fact, we will go there so we can see 6. Okay, that should give us sets of random numbers, and we should be able to see them keep being repopulated. Okay. All Clarion so far. So now, I take it you're still there. I know you've muted yourself just to be.
Yeah.
That's fine. So we've got data in the Clarion queue. So what we could do there is go to the extension, and of course that query, that queue could be populated by some kind of SQL query. I have templates, utility templates that can do it, and I'm 99% sure the ultimate SQL lets you query straight into a queue. John could correct me on that, but I think it does. So the ways it means, if you have any problems, especially getting the data from, like say, SQL, then by all means you're welcome to copy the Noyantis Utils class, and that can just query a SQL database and bring the results straight into a queue for you of your local queue, that is. So there's ways and means to get that in, and you can pass filters to it, of course, where clauses. So we're going to go to here, and we're going to go to the extensions. Go to our report control, and we're going to choose the list enhancer. Add it to there. So we're going to say which list is it we're doing. We're creating that one. So we're enhancing that. And that's it. We're not going to do anything else just to start with. So from there, what's all the messages then? I am currently okay, because I'm just doing changes on this template, so ignore those. But now it's a report control with our ID and name taking on the visual aspects of the report control. Oh, and I think we have to. Okay, we will just do one thing on that. In fact, we had. We don't necessarily do that display, but we can do report control dot list sync sync rows, and you can pass it a progress bar should you want to. So there's no progress bar, and we don't want to necessarily get it to update each row by row, because that also slow things down. So we'll just do it ourselves at the end. So we'll do that, and then we'll do a populate. Okay. So there's our report control now populated with our data. Likewise, we can refresh. So the speeds aren't too bad. That's 500 going in.
Okay, that's very good. Now, when you think of having like 50 or 100 browsers in your whole app, and you don't want to do this very process over and over and over again with all the queues and having all the setup manually.
That's fine.
What I thought of is like, okay, derive from the report control app or report control class, and yeah, kind of set up a base process that is taking care of everything itself.
Okay,
if you know what I mean.
So now in your application, you've got, as you said quite correctly, you've got 50, 100, n number of browsers in your application. Now, is it aimed to keep those browsers there and basically take some settings from them, or would you be willing to remove those and re-add something obviously simple, but a way to replace them, if you will?
Well, actually, if I could, I would let them in place, because it's not so much work to do, probably.
Right, okay. The only thing you've got there, especially with the legacy code as well, is you're going to get Clarion when the window opens, initializing the browse and populating some data in it. So you're going to be taking that kind of hit, but for no real reason, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So, but of course, as you say, you've got the thing in there. The best. See, the best way you could try and, if you're willing to get your hands dirty at the lower level, would be to try and hook into the various points of your existing Clarion browse, where it fills its queue, basically override that so it doesn't go filling its own, so it doesn't go filling the queue for you. You do it yourself by calling some kind of SQL query to get the data back. But you're ultimately going to be working with two queues there, because one is going to populate a queue for the report control, sorry, for the Clarion browse, and then you're going to be doing it for the report control as well. So there will be a delay because it's doing twice the work.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only that's a shame, but that's one of the options you're going to do. You see, you've got other mechanisms open to you here. The next one I would suggest is the thing what I was saying on the email to you, and it's to do with the table load. So let's just go forward now. We'll take a look at this table load. Oh, not exactly a hard one. Now, on here, you add a report control to the window. Oh, sorry, just 1 second. Oh. Okay, so you add a report control to the window. Go to its actions, and we're just waiting for it. Okay, now, new options you've got here. Normally you would just do manually loaded. Okay, now you've got options here to say, okay, it's data binding. I'll cover that in a second for you. You've seen the manual loading. You've got a list enhancer, which we've just shown you a second ago. You've got a queue. Now, again, that queue could be the queue of your Clarion browse, but it's only going to take the data out of that existing queue. So it's not really going to help you too much, to be honest, because you're still going to be populating the Clarion queue and then populating the report control queue as well. And with a larger SQL set, it's twice the workload. So, but the new one is where it's going to be file loaded. Sorry, not file loaded, but basically from a file. So you'll be able to say which file is it coming from, which key you're going to, it's a default reading sequence, if you will. Remember, all the sorting and the grouping will be done via the report control at runtime. So this is purely to get the data in there, the data source. You've got the, I don't know if you've seen these particular options where you can set what the related record is and the update procedure. So you see, basically, for our example a second ago, just put this in modified order. But our list would have been in there a second ago. Oh, it's there, yeah. Yes, basically for this, lost my chain of thought. Under the that doesn't have the source. That's why it gives the errors. But I'll show you in a different example in a second. But basically, what you could do. Okay, open up one of mine. Okay, in this application, I'm just show you. I'll show you the application, then show it you how the data is getting in there. Oh, it's set to a wrong data source. Just 1 second. Let me just change the data source. Sorry about this. Okay, now let's go to one browse. Probably a bad example. Staff got nothing there neither. Could put just a couple of records in. Okay. Now, this is a report control, obviously. Its data source is set to data bind. So this is going to take the data directly from SQL. But as I click through here, it will automatically keep a record in sync with a local, not local GPS, with the a query to the SQL database. So I've got a SQL table called staff. I've got multiple records in that table. I do a SQL query to bring that data back via the data bind engine. So I'm bypassing Clarion's dictionary here. We're bypassing Clarion actually. This is a report control data bound straight to an ADO data source, taking its data directly from SQL. So the speed is about the fastest you're going to get because you're not populating any queues. You're bypassing all of that completely. So as we click here, it's the equivalent of you want to do equivalent of a get or a fetch, if you will. So that's what's happening when I click on the records. And if I want to go and update a record, then it will update, call the update form. Now that is accomplished by this.
And this is only possible with the actual report control, not with the enhancer?
Not with the enhancer, because the enhancer is enhancing the Clarion list. So if you want to keep the Clarion lists on there, we're going to have to try and you're not going to get the best results because the Clarion list is the driving force behind it. So you're not going to get the best results. It might be the easiest to implement, but it's not going to be the loaded the fastest. It is only the loading, to be fair. The sorting will be done at. Actually, that's not quite true because you are enhancing a Clarion browse, not the list which we did a second ago, but because if you are doing an enhancement of a browse, be it page loaded or file loaded, then any sorting and so on will be passed, and keystrokes will be passed back to the underlying Clarion browse. So if at all possible, although it's going to be a little more dev, your best results is going to be to take that out of the equation.
Okay.
So I know it sounds it's probably the last thing you wanted to hear, but if you want to get the best results for the application going forward, that's going to give you the best results. So to show you that browse, sorry, that's went the update. It was the browse we wanted. Quickly show you that browse staff. We have a simple report control on the screen. I think it's probably there. Yep. Its data source is data binding. Its unique column, I have basically a function where I can pass it. You don't have to do it this way, but I have it because the whole of the application is implemented this way. So that is basically a report control sat on top of an ADO data source. So is this. So are the work schedules. Basically, the whole of the application is done in such a way like that. Okay, so to help me, I just have some equates of a table, basically table staff and table patients and so on, and I have a little function called get unique column, and that will return me what the unique column is for this particular ID. So it's staff. It allows me going forward to be able to change the the order, change the contents of the actual report controls at runtime without actually recompiling, if I wanted to. So okay, so we have a unique column. I don't want to see the unique column at runtime, but I do need it from a unique point of view for each row. We're using SQL 2016. I do have a connection to the data source, and I have that in a global variable which has been initialized for me. You can put a constant in there if you wanted to, but obviously a variable is better going forward. And then, just like I have the unique column, I have the select statement, and again I have a little library routine called get select statement, and I pass it an equate, and it returns me back the SQL select. So that will populate the actual data into the report control. To keep things in sync, so as you're clicking on each record, to have the actual local file record buffer populated for you, you've got the related record. So I'm saying, okay, as I click on each row, I want you to go and find the record from the staff table using that key, and they are the data elements. So the data element is the staff ID is my row ID. Okay, and if I wanted to be able to update, so I double click on it and call an update form, then there's the name of the procedure I'm going to call with any parameters I wanted to pass to it, should I want to. So that in action would give you, there it is, the staff. So if I did have any derived information on the screen, just placing the actual file, buffers, the field buffers on the window would display. So that would keep the record in sync for you, and then double clicking would call the update form obviously with the correct record. If I don't update, then it just cancels. If I do update, then it will refresh, as you would expect it to. So basically, it is replacing the Clarion for you, the Clarion browse. So there's no Clarion browse on that screen whatsoever. There's no file data IO except for the record sync, which I've turned on, going on. It's purely just a report control read from an ADO data source. That's your fastest option to get the data in there. And of course, you can put SQL filters to them. So for here, let me just put a work schedule in for somebody. So for me, I will say I'm looking at AW 2018. Okay. And I'm going to say, okay, this was the work schedule. This is like a work rota of your roster, 01 2018. So I'm going to say this person, only works on Monday, 9 till 5. I wish. Sorry. There you go. That is a rota for 2018, and obviously you'd have other parts in there, but then I could have another one in there for 2019, that kind of thing. But the point I'm going to get to here is with no break. Okay. As I look at this, again, I've got another report control ADO data source, but I've got a where clause on here, and that where clause is I only want to look at the records that belong to that particular header. So this is looking at a lines table, if you will, the sections, and I only want the ones which are related to a header. So I have my SQL clause set up, and just to show you how I implement that bit. Update staff, there you go. So on the screen, which we just saw, So I'm updating a header record, but I do have another report control here. These buttons, by the way, the insert, change, delete, are insert, change, delete buttons, but from the report control class. So again, not the Clarion ones. You've got report control update buttons. That's the insert, change, delete. And of course, you've got the equivalent of a view button, a print button, a select button, all the things you would normally have with a Clarion. So you've got a Clarion insert, change, delete, and a view, and a print, and a select. You've got the same, but for report control. So we are really taking all of the Clarion browse technology completely out of the application. Very good, actually, if you ever wanted to be able to switch the data source. So if I wanted to very quickly say, this installation is running on Postgres, this installation is running on SQL, Microsoft SQL, and the next one's running on MySQL, then of course I'd be able to do that just by controlling the selects and the connection strings. But the application, just one compilation, and it can be, you could even switch the data source at runtime.
Okay. By the way, is this supporting kind of a page loading mechanism? For example, the limit clause in MySQL?
It's no, there's no page loading. All of this at the moment is done with the equivalent of bits. The equivalent of file loading. When this goes live, and I do need to, it gets bigger data sets in there, and if I have to implement some kind of equivalent of page loading, then I will look at that then. But at the moment, the data source, the data binding is whatever query you pass it. So if you say load everything, it will load everything. If you say only load, say for MySQL limit 1000, it will only load the first 1000, that type of thing.
And that's a thing where I thought, okay, let's derive from your original class and take care of it myself, because I kind of need that page loading mechanism when you have like 50,000 records.
Yep, most of the main class methods like these are derivable, definitely. So you would be able to manipulate this for your own requirements, definitely.
Okay, and how would I do that with the derivation?
With the relation, sorry. Oh, sorry, I was going to show, how what I've done here. So just like the parent browse, if you will, the parent report control, shouldn't really call it browse. And just like that, I've got my data source. Again, I get my the unique for a table ID, and I get my select statement. Where are we? There's a connection. There's a select, and I'm getting my select statement. Now, in my select statement, I've purposely put where the where clause would go, basically a placeholder for a filter. So if we see here, there's a derived method for the load. So it's going to go and perform the SQL select for me. So it's going to load. And you can say here, I'm replacing part of the SQL select. So I've got what the SQL select is. It's already calculated it for me. And then I'm just going to do a find replace. Within there, I've put a placeholder to say that's going to be I'm going to need to filter this part, and I'm just replacing it with where the header ID equals, and it's the header ID that I'm currently updating at this moment in time.
I see, yeah.
So I just and all of our classes, the report control, because they are built from our common class, you've all got a find replace function. So you can just pass it a string, pass a string in, what the find parameter is and what the replace parameter is, and it will do the find replace for you automatically. So the report that could be, if you wanted it to be, self dot find replace or report control dot find replace.
I see, yeah.
So, but I've got my utils, so I always use the utils, just force of habit. But either one would work. But yes, basically, what at this point, so I'm updating, I'm browsing and updating. Where are we? Sorry, let's go back to that. So I'm looking at the parent report control. I'm updating the parent record, but I'm looking at a child report control. So of course I only want the ones which are related to this one, which is Monday 8 till 8, 8 till 6, or this one, Monday 9 till 5. And that's, as I say, that's accomplished by that embed point. So they are all derivable. There's lots of them. We try and put a particular naming sequence in place. So you can see here, data bind, start data bind, the data, if it needs to access data, all start data. So you've got delete record, fetch record, insert, load, lock. So they are the equivalent of delete would be deleting Clarion, in legacy, and delete in ABC. Fetch would be get in legacy and would be fetch or try fetch in ABC. So basically, these are the one for one for the standard things that you would expect.
Okay.
So that. Oh, and the last but not least, you've got. We'll jump back to our original example. So we've gone straight to the data bind. The only other one I was going to show, and it's what I mentioned on the email to you, and that is to do with the table load. And that is, it will still bring the records local to you, but it will only have one queue, and it will be the queue will go into the report control, basically. So it will be faster than the Clarion, file loaded, not faster than the Clarion page loaded, but it will be faster than the Clarion file loaded browse enhancer, but it won't be as fast as the data bind, because the data bind is bypassing all of Clarion's browse technology and putting it straight to the report control. So the results are quite fast, as you can imagine. But you don't lose any of the functionality. You've still got insert, change, delete buttons. You've still got column. You've got much better column sorting and grouping because the data's in there, so you're not having to resort any data, no data I/O. You've got it all in there, and you are accessing it accordingly. So you're sorting it and grouping it accordingly.
Okay. Well, thanks so far. I think I have a deeper look now.
I can send you a demo app of the data binding. I'm not even sure it's already in part of the installer, but I can send you a demo app of the data binding if you like. You just need to change the parameters. It should be. Take a look under here. Yeah, there's one I prepared earlier.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I think there's Microsoft Access, MSSQL. You would have to change the parameters accordingly, obviously. But the access should. Let's just quickly see this. I think it's just a straightforward data bind to a local access MDB table. Oh, not set it up. Let me have a look. 18.6. Oh, we'll just use a built-in one. It's really all this. Data source, event, driver access. Have a look at that example. See if the data's there. Might be showing you something that isn't even there. Report control. Oh no, it should be there. ./access. Yeah, not sure why that isn't taking the data out. Must be this. Maybe it's just the actual ADO isn't installed on this, something like that. No, it can't be. I'll have a look. I've demonstrated this in the past, but this is the example app I'll send you, so you can see file driver, any particular option, so what file name, the connection. So I've actually specified it in the TPL here, so you can see that's a typical connection string for Microsoft Access. That doesn't look long enough. Oh no, that's okay. And then the select statement, so select star from event. I'll make sure that's working before I send it to you, but that would be basically really, I think you change the parameters accordingly, and then you just run it. So I can zip that up and send it across to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yes, to go back to your original question, if you wanted to try and keep the Clarion browsers in there, it's going to be messy. I think you're probably going to end up dedicating quite a bit of work just to keep those on the screen and not get the best of results, especially with legacy. If you can take those out of the equation and replace them with just a file load, a R file loaded, if you will. So when I say R file loaded, I mean table loaded, which is our new option, which we're just finishing off. So we'll just wait for this. Sorry there. So source file. So that would be probably one of your better options behind the data binding. So yeah. But by all means, I'll send you the example after this. Have a play. And if you like, we can take a look at the next webinar and see basically, because undoubtedly you probably have some questions, and we can take a look at how easy we can get it to. Yeah, you've got me thinking now. I always like to try and help people out. I wonder if there's something I could do in the template to say, okay, I do want to take the settings from Clarion, but I don't want to enhance it. I literally just want this placeholder. Basically, I want the size, I want the columns, I want everything of Clarion, but I don't want all the loading and all the stuff what goes with it. I just want to basically load the data myself. Maybe I could do something like that. Maybe we could knock something together during the next webinar to try and get the best of both worlds for you.
Mm-hmm. All right, quite good. Thank you very much.
No problem. Okay. So next, questions haven't come up, but I know there's Michael, which I definitely promised, and Pete. So Michael, are you there? Alphabetically, you're first. So are you there?
Hello, Andy. How are you?
How are you? Yes, fine, thank you. Yourself?
Okay.
So we've got questions regarding, and let me just bring it up. Yours was calendar, and I think there was a couple of questions. Do you want to go through them and we can cover them?
Yes, I have 4 questions.
Okay.
In a previous webinar,
yep.
the question 4, time status, when I made an appointment in 8 o'clock, I have an error, a warning message that I can't insert an appointment because time status. I have the version of.
Let me open up the example and let's see if we can do it this way. So I know you've got.
Yes.
Let's have a look. Webinars, Calendar Pro. We've been using this one in the past, so let's take a look at this.
I have 409 version.
Can't remember what we're on actually. Let me take a look at this. 410A. That's okay. Yep. Okay.
409. Yeah.
Yep. Well, so this is just it'll be anything with an alpha letter at the end means it's in progress. That's fine.
Okay.
So the question you've got in reminders, you're getting, is it get property failed? Is that the one?
Yes.
Okay, so you're getting get property failed. Now, which reminder window are you using?
A custom.
Your own custom. So this one custom.
Yes. Like this.
Like that. Brilliant.
Yes.
So,
yes.
when do you get the error? What do you press?
The error. So when I fire the reminder, when I open the application and when I open the calendar.
Okay, so is this on the application frame?
Yes.
That's okay. Fine. Let's take a look at that. Let's do that. So, how would do you have the calendar on the application frame? Do you use the this?
Yes.
Which one? Do you use that one or do you use the frame reminders?
In my main.
Yes.
My main. The frame reminders.
You use frame reminders. That one?
Yes. This.
Okay. Okay, so we've got that. We've got a toolbar. Do you have a toolbar?
Yes, I have. And also I hide the toolbar.
That's fine. Okay. So far so good. Let's go through here. We want the reminders turned on. So you are using custom event handling, correct?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to go and just grab some code off the other one, which makes things a little easier for us. There, custom reminder. That'll be easier.
Yes.
So that's the name of the procedure I'm going to call. We'll have a look at that in a second. We've got an update as well. And there's definitely going to be some embeds I'm going to need out of here. In fact, do you know what? I'm going to have another copy open so that it'll just make it easier to copy to and from. Just opening a second copy of the application. So just for copying the embed points, just make it easier.
Okay.
Okie dokie. So obviously on here we're going to need the table open. Event. Not sure what we've got on the other, so custom reminder. There we go. Custom reminder window. Here's the embeds.
I call it from reminders fired embed point.
Okay. Yep. We're just going to put the make sure we've got some data loaded and so on, so we can see it running to start with. Okay, so we've got data delete record. Definitely need to get these changes done so that you don't have to put these embed points in and make it faster going forward. That's coming in the 4.1 build. So you won't have to do any of this code in the next one. I'll be a second, just trying to get Gold's meeting to go out of the way. Okay, so event accepted. I think some of this code we're not going to be needed. Yeah, I'll go through it in a minute. I don't think we need some of this code, but let's just get them across first. I think I'm just copying these a little blinded. Right, reminder fired is an important one for our example, what we're doing here. So let's just copy that as well. So we've got our reminder fired. And we will cover for people watching what that signifies. So let's get it working first. Yeah, I don't need the right click. We do need them too. Okay. So let's just take a quick look. That's just straightforward, and we can get rid of it. That's a fetch. That's an insert. All really simple stuff. Nothing groundbreaking there. Don't need that one because there's nothing to show on the screen. We don't need that one. We don't need the event selected. Yeah. Okay, let's take a quick look at that. I think there's some settings on that I haven't done. Calendar Pro and yeah, our update procedure, we want it so we can update. Declare that. I'm going to have it as update events. I think we've got a local procedure of that. Column on that. Actually, we don't need that new event because you can't do that. But we will copy the other ones just so we know what we've got it. Start date, start time, and over false.
We need this in parameters.
Well, you would need it on
because
the insert.
I have only the event accepted.
Yeah, so you wouldn't need that. We'll trim it out in a second. LD.
Okay.
There, that's what I wanted to see, that one. Oh, yep, not giving it that. Okay, so does that trigger? We open up and our event's triggered, a reminder. As you say, we don't need, now let's just get rid, because we don't visually see the calendar, we just want it from a reminder's point of view. So yes, what we could do on here is say, yes, we want that, but you pointless having no parameters because we're not calling that on the new event. You could, depending if your custom form allows a delete event, so I would leave that one on.
I have only the accepted.
If you only have, that's fine. That's fine. It's just down to what options you've given here. If you have a delete, then you would want the actions to be on the delete as well.
No. Okay, no.
Okay, so you've got this. So where are you going to get property?
Yes, in here. When I open the when I view the reminder window, I get property failed. And next, when I open the calendar window, also I have the error.
So let me just run it afresh. So we get that. We've got now, just so people again who are watching can follow this. We said for this extension, and it doesn't have to be a frame extension. You could have this on a standard calendar. We said we want the reminders to trigger, and we want to. God, there's some options, isn't there? In fact, I've gone straight past it. There we go. We do want the reminders to trigger, but we're going to handle them ourselves. So if we'd have used the CodeJot one, it would have used the CodeJot window. Noyantis one would have used our own built-in one. Custom event, we're going to do it all ourselves. So it's giving you a prompt to tell you you're going to make use of these embed points, these derived methods. Now, one of them, very importantly there, is reminders fired. Let's take a look at the reminders fired. And what we're doing here is saying, okay, internally, there is a thread number stored of the reminder window. Now, of course, if that's our Noyantis one, it will keep track of that automatically for you. If you're using it yourself, then by all means use that variable, but you have to set it and unset it yourself accordingly. So what we're doing here is, if it's not been set, we're going to start a brand new custom reminder window. And if it has been set, we're just going to post event open window, which will tell it to bring itself back into focus and reload the data. Normally that's what you'd do. Interesting, if we are starting it, we're going to pass it the address of the class itself. So we're going to pass it has to be the address because the parameters on the start command really needs to be a string. So we're just going to use a string, but use that placeholder, if you will, to pass the address of the class. The reason we're going to pass the class is obviously there's lots of wording and there's lots of properties which the class stores for us. And also, when the reminders fired event occurs, internally a queue will be populated with the reminders that have just fired. So if that, let's say you've got a reminder opening at 3 o'clock, then at 3 o'clock, that queue will be repopulated and that event will re-trigger. If you've got another reminder at 1 minute past 3 and you've still got that thing opened, the event will still trigger again. The queue will be repopulated, the event will re-trigger, and that's where we would get this and bring it into open window because the window would be opened. So let's take a look at that window. Not that window, sorry. Where's my, there we go, our custom reminder window. Takes the parameter, and it's the address of the class. I have, let's take a look at our embeds here. We define a local class that we can use. So the Calendar Pro class is going to be that class. And I've just got some local procedures, build a reminder queue that we can take a look at and so on. We said it's on the open window. So that's going to build the queue. I think there's one place actually in the window in it where I would, remember this is all, you're taking charge of it yourself, so this is your own custom window. So our local class, we assign it to the passed in class. So now we can get hold of the properties, the data, everything of the passed in class. So we've got this build queue, and that's going to, as long as we've got a class and it's not null, it's going to go through the pre-populated reminder queue in the class, and it's going to populate just a local one that you've got here at runtime. Seeing that in action, reminders fired. So internally, the ActiveX has add a particular event trigger which knows that reminders are required. It populates a queue. Well, we detect it, we populate the queue, we then call the embed point reminders fired, which in turn then calls this window and passes in the class. Then that build reminders queue takes the data out of the calendar class, puts it into a nice local class that you can see here, and so on. And that's what you're looking at. So I've just explained how we got to this point. So at what point now, what do you press and what error do you get? What shall I press there?
I didn't press anything. When I saw this window, I have the get property failed one record and the record of the miner. And the second record is the get property failed and the second record of a reminder.
So
for each record, I have one get property failed record.
So you're getting get property failed there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now that suggests to me you must have passed in a class, because you wouldn't get anything at all there if you hadn't done. So, for example, if I'd not done that, then I'd expect the window to still open, but you wouldn't get any content, because if you tried accessing a null, you get a GPF. So you always wrap your code in is not null. So you must have got that to get the data in the first place. We've got the open window, either as a brand new window or as an event being passed on a subsequent reminder is fired. You're calling that. So you're at this point here.
Andy, I have the exactly same code, but let me ask you.
It's not going to be in this, because I'm just looking here, and we're not calling any methods. So this is already going to be populated from here.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's going to be populated. So the source of your problem isn't there, it's more back here. So is the calling at that embed point after parent call, is that the same? And you're passing as the address?
Yes, it's the same. In my main window, okay.
Yes, so this is the main menu, yes. Main window, main application.
Yes. I have the same. But in prototype, in previous window, what I must have?
In here, well, it has to be a string, and that's because
yes, I have a string only, and parameter this. Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's particularly the problem, because that's taking whatever is in that queue. Okay, so for example, just before that's called, if I was to loop x hash equals 1 to records in the self.reminder queue, not that you do this, I'm just to demonstrate. If I got self.reminder queue, comma x hash, and I said self.reminder queue dot subject equals ABC. Now the class has already done this work for you, okay? But what I'm saying is, I think it's the content of that. What is it being populated? So there, and there we go, ABC. Okay. So you're getting get property failed, okay?
Here, yes.
So it's a populating of the subject. Are you still getting the correct time from when the reminder? So here we can see this is 7 hours overdue. If I was to open that, and yes, it's at 10 o'clock. If I was to change that to, let's say, 12 o'clock, now it's only 6 hours overdue. And if I was to change it yet again, and let's say, okay, it's 15, Really? Let me just reopen. Did I save that? $15 to $16. There, 2 hours. Thank you. I was going to say, so yes, basically, it's taking the data and so on. So is your time correct there?
No. When I have the get property failed, here I have a big number, like 76,000.
Right. It's coming down to the data source then. It's
Yes.
yeah, it's coming down to the data source. So it's what's going in to that queue in the first place. So here, so let's take a look at your loading of the events. Here's the thing: how many reminders in your data, your test data, how many reminders are you expecting to trigger? I.e., I'm expecting one reminder. If I was to go and put, let's put another event in for today. So let's put one in for 10 o'clock this morning. So there you go, 10 to 11. So second reminder. I require a reminder. Doesn't really matter about the colour. Okay, now I'm going to expect 2 reminders. One 6 hours ago, one 1 hour ago. If I was to run my application, I'm expecting 2 reminders. 6 hours and 1 hour. So in your data, how many reminders are you expecting? Do you get the right number of reminders?
I made the test for 10 reminders.
10 reminders?
Yes.
And you get 10 and you get 10 records in here?
No, I have 20 records.
Right. Then I think it's in your data load records, load events. I think it's in here that your problem is. Because
Load records.
Yeah, it's in load records.
I have a custom load records. Load events.
You have a what, sorry?
A custom load events.
Okay.
A custom. Okay.
Yeah. Well, as a test, okay, as a test, just to see, if it is that, what we'll do is we will comment that one out. Actually, let's just. Okay, so. Okay, so we're going to delete, reload, populate. What I'm going to do is I'm going to comment that one. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm just going to populate my own dummy data. So it's going to be add record 1. So it's going to be, I'm not going to use any of the files. I'm just going to say that's record 1. Busy status, not bothered. Color can be, doesn't really matter, so we'll call it color blue. End date is today. End time is deformat 11 a.m. That correct for TO1? I think it is. Visible, not bothered about any icons, not bothered about that, not bothered about that. Meeting, not bothered about that. All that. The ID can just be 1. Reminder 15 minutes. Oh, reminder true. Reminder 15 minutes before the start. Schedule ID we're not using. The start date is today. the start time can be 10 a.m. And the subject, that can be record 1. Okay, so I'm going to not load my records. I just want to see, is the reminder facility working? And I forgot something. Record 1. Do I get a reminder? Yes, and I get record 1. 7 hours. That's correct.
Okay.
Now I'm going to just have another one, but for 5 hours. So it's going to be the same, just going to be a little later. 2, 2, 2. So now we're just loading constants. I just want to take a step back, and are we looking at the data loading and so on? So now we've got record 1, record 2. So they are correct. Won't be able to. You might get something, but it'll be whatever record 1 is. So record 2. So ignore that. But we have got the amount of records we wanted. So I would suggest for you, do the same. Try that exact same method. So delete all, comment out the current loading, put just a couple of dummy loads of your own in, so you know exactly what data you're expecting, and then do your populate and redraw. Do you get the correct record and do you still get the get property? I don't think you will. So that would be the first thing I would do on yours.
Okay, I try.
Okay, I can send you this example app afterwards, so you're welcome to take it straight from this. That's no problem.
No, I record the webinar robot. Okay, I have it. When the reminder window show at the first time in application, I don't have the error. In the second time of loading, I have the error.
What's the error? Is this
Yes.
is this in the email the second?
When I open the application, I have a reminder.
Yep.
The reminder window is so okay. It's okay. When I close the calendar or the application and I reopen, I have the get property failed record and the and the right record. I have 2 records. Okay.
Not quite following. So okay, so say that again. So the first time you open the application, are you getting
the reminder is okay.
Okay.
When I close the calendar window,
okay,
and reopen, I have the get property failed.
And how do you reopen?
With a button.
Okay, let's try that here now, so we can see the same. So okay, I'm gonna put a button on this toolbar, and I'm not going to hide the toolbar. So we'll have a button here. We will call it reminders. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to actually go to my, let's see other example. Main, calendar custom reminders, that one. We should have a button on here. Just being lazy, I can't remember what the actual code is. Oh, it's just a... Okay. Maybe it's maybe I use that. I actually surprised myself there. No, okay, it's not what I'm thinking of. So we'll just do it ourselves. I would call something like calendar pro dot, is it show reminders, something like that? Yeah, show reminders. So we've got our 2, of course, that's what we expect. No, it's not that. How do you show it on yours then? And I'll emulate yours. I would have thought that would have been show reminders. What code do you use? Okay, we have that. Close. Show. Oh, you know, that's not... That's no problem. We'll just... That example wants changing. What it wants to be then is... I wonder if this will do it. And it's fired. Yeah. Okay, we'll just emulate that. So how do you call it to open up the reminder the second time?
How in my calendar pro window, okay, my scheduler.
No, not on the scheduler. No, just on the just on you say you can. So when the application opens, you get the reminder window, but then you give them an option
from frame.
Yep, and then what do you do on the frame to get it to reopen?
I totally open. Next, I open the scheduler window. Okay, my scheduler.
Oh, so you open that window?
Yes. And the first time, it's okay. When I close the window and reopen, I have the get property failed.
But what is it you want to do on there? Do you want to just show the reminders on the main application frame?
No. I don't have any button. This button. I have only the scheduler and the frame window.
Right. Okay. Oh, we can see here that you can obviously you can call this many times over, and we would expect to keep getting
yes
the same data. I think it's still linked to the data source, the loading of the data. It's still linked to that.
Yes,
I would look at that as a first point of call. Even in your schedule one, just put that data which I just mentioned before, just in there, just to see. And I think it's the loading of your data.
Yes. Okay.
This isn't calling any methods. It's just displaying what's in the queue. But the trouble is that queue has not been populated correctly. So that's why you're getting the issue.
In my reminder window, the queue. Yes.
Sorry, I lost that. In your reminder window?
I have a queue. Okay. I have 2 queues.
Yes.
When the queue reminders and the snooze queue.
Okay. We're gonna let's quickly see your screen. Let me just take a quick look.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look. So you should get a prompt.
Okay.
Yep, just moving you onto this monitor. Yep, okay.
Yes, this is my reminder window. Okay. I have 2 queues.
Okay.
Okay, and in events I have all the source. Okay, the build reminders, just you saw. Okay, the snooze, and here I have the string, and in actions I have the parameters.
I don't think the problem's there. I think it's in the calling procedure.
Alright. Okay, in load events here I have open files. Insert event. I have open files. Okay, I have delete events. Okay, I have load.
So hang on, just go back.
This is the load.
This is a source procedure, right? Okay, yep, got you.
Yes, a load event. Okay.
Okay.
And I have all this.
Okay.
And the recording events. Okay.
Oh, hello. Yep.
Okay. And close files and then okay. And the event. When I load in my main procedure, okay, in my frame, in fire here, I have this code. And in my schedule window.
Oh, just yeah, that's okay. Can you just go back one, please?
Yes.
Okay.
In fire.
In the embeds, just show the embeds.
To show the load events.
Just looking at the
here.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to see whether. Just go back one. I'm just trying to see. Okay, don't. Yeah, loading events. Fine. Okay, yeah, that's good. Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay. And in my schedule window here, scheduler, I have reminders also. In one moment here. Okay. And also I have the fired here.
Okay. And can you show the embeds?
Okay. One moment. Yes. Here. It's the scheduler. Okay. Can I show you the error?
Oh.
The error is here.
Okay, yeah. I'm just thinking there though. The class might not match, but okay, yeah.
You saw the right reminder. Okay, it's one.
Where's the load data?
When I load the scheduler. One moment. I have the get property failed. Okay. Here. This is subject. This is the error at UN. And when I get this is a message, the a record not found. Okay. But this I can open. That is the error. And when I load again,
Can you just there's quite a delay in the screen update, so if you can just let it just update, go a bit slower. So if you just start the application again.
yes, okay. One moment. It's okay.
Okay, so we're at a login screen.
In.
Okay, we're just waiting for the. Okay, so I can see there's one record.
Yes, and when I open the
Now,
scheduler,
do you close that window now?
what window? This?
No, the reminder window.
A reminder window. One moment to show. Yes, I close from here.
Right. Okay.
Here. Okay. I don't have a button for a reminder. Okay. When I open again, I have this, but this is not working. The X button.
Which X button?
Okay. I have the exit button. Okay.
And can you bring the reminder back up again now?
The application?
No, just the reminder window.
The reminder window. Okay. Here it is. Here is the reminder window.
I meant at runtime. You're just running it.
Yeah.
So run the application.
No. You want to open the application? No.
Yeah, run the application.
Yes.
Okay, just one of the thoughts I've got at the moment. So if you run the application.
Yes. Here. I can open this.
Okay, so you've opened it and you've not. Okay, so at this moment in time, that's from the application frame, correct?
Yes.
Now, the application frame has a calendar class attached to it.
Yes.
And the reminder window. That should still be okay. I'm just thinking the reminder window would start new. A new thread. Okay?
New thread. Yes.
Okay, so you open the schedule window.
This. Okay. I have the error.
Okay, we're just waiting. Well, yeah, there's a delay for us to see it. Okay, so that. Now, how many reminders would you expect there? Just one or two?
One. I have only one. This. One reminder only. But I view two reminders, two records.
And it's the second one which is correct. Just looking at the.
Yes. Because I can open. Okay. And when I open this, I try to open. I have the record not found.
Okay.
Error.
Can we add another reminder for today? Add one for 12 o'clock.
Yes. Here. One moment, because I might choose the patient. Okay. Yes, it's right. Okay, I have 1 and 2, and they all get property failed. Okay, 1, 2. When I
hang on. Let's just slow down.
I close the schedule and reopen. I have 2 get property failed.
We're not got 2 get property failed there, but yes, okay. This is what I'm expecting. Okay, let's
for its record. Okay. The time, this and this, it's okay. And that is an error.
I still think that is linked to the data source, the data loading. Now, we are calling the same reminder window, but you're actually starting it on 2 threads. One will be on the application frame. That will start it on 1 thread. And then the scheduler window will also start it on a different thread. So there will be 2 windows running. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. You're doing that. I'm just trying to think how we can. I'd have to try and replicate here with this, the same setup, because what you're doing is actually, it's fine. Let me bring back to mine.
Yes. In application. Okay.
Okay. So, do we have a load? Do we have a load events there? Yeah, we do have a source. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to copy yours, basically. So down to the data load, and it's that. So our application frame is going to do exactly the same. So let's just and we've got that.
Yes.
Okay, and then the same for the custom calendar custom. Okay, now this is very similar to yours now. So no, I haven't got my reminder. Why am I not getting my reminder now then? Oh, let me look at that load. No, that hasn't got the, it's not loading reminders, that's why. Reminder mins. There you go. Okay, that's yours.
Yes.
Oh, wrong one, sorry. That's that. Now I'm going to call it off the application frame, same as yours. Can I call it? Do you want it on a menu or can I just call it on a button? It doesn't really matter. Yes. And yes. See what I'm going to do. I'm going to have that open and I'm going to call that. You know the example you sent through, does that demonstrate that same issue?
Yes, but
does that demonstrate both at the same time, that particular issue, the get property? You sent through a zip.
can I ask you? Maybe I have a problem in my window design. No, I take it from the demo.
Shouldn't really. You know, you sent a zip file through, did you not? With the example.
Yes,
Yeah.
I take from the demo.
Does that have the same? Does that get the get property? Does that demonstrate the get property?
What?
You know the property you've got, the issue you've got, the get property failed. Does the demo application you sent, does that include?
No. I don't have it in the demo.
No.
The demo is right. No.
No, because I was going to say I could use that as a debug. It's going to be very, very difficult without being able to recreate. I mean, I can send you what I've got here, but that's not really going to help us. Don't know what to suggest. Okay, on yours, just you know, in the load earlier on, we did this example where we just loaded 2 static entries.
Yes, I tried.
And what do you get on yours?
I don't try it.
Oh, you will try.
Now?
Sorry, I understand.
Yes.
Well, I'll zip this up and send you. Can you do that both? Well, actually,
Yes.
do it in the load. So we've got this is set up similar to yours. So we've got the load events, and I'm just going to comment that out, and we'll put it in there. So what have we got here? Yeah. It's P calendar, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry, I just had to check there. Okay, so what I'm thinking is something like that. And that, and that. Okay.
Okay.
So now we expect 2 on the app frame, 2 in that calendar.
Yes.
Okay. So something similar. Can we try that on yours? I think that'll work in yours. And if it doesn't, well, I don't know what we'll do. But I think that will work in yours. I think it's. Why do you know your load? You're calling the same load. Well, look, let's try that as a starting point. Let's see which direction it's going to send us. Is it in the data loading? I still think it is. Or is it not? Can you try that? Report back tomorrow. I'll make sure that you get this zip straight away tonight.
Okay, I'll try it.
Okay.
Right.
I'm going to have to wrap that up now, only because we're over time and I do need to get home tonight. But I will send you out before leaving. I'll zip this up and I'll send it on an email. I'll rename the zip to .zp, just in case of email filters. Is there any other very quick questions which before we finish? Do need to wrap that up. I know you've got some other questions. We'll continue with them next week. I know you've got about loading from a queue and so on. But any other quick questions before we finish for the day? Anybody? Bijan's got a quick question. Hopefully it's a quick question. Hi, Bijan.
Yeah, Andy. Yeah, it's a quick question. Yes. On the report control, I've got everything working the way I wanted with the timeline. The question I have is double clicking to like start a new like event schedule. But
on the track.
Yes, on the tracker. Yes, tracker. Can I do a double click to start a new record, a new?
Well, here's the thing. Let's quickly open that. Let's just run that. And of course here, any of them doesn't really matter. So you want to double click here.
Yeah, it's like in a time slot, and then just have it like go to a form, start a new reservation.
You can, but here's the thing. I think we've mentioned this in the past. Technically, the double click here. Oh, hang on. You want it to start anew, not the double click of an existing, because technically they don't support double click in the trackbar entry, in the trackbar element. So let me just bring that into play and I'll show you. Numeric, that's where we were. So we've got the report control, and I think it's under the trackbar.
Yes.
I'm just trying to find, where are we? Nope.
If you have to go, we can cover it next time if you feel that.
No, I'll take a quick look. You see, there was I'm trying to find where the actual settings are. Data source, not columns. Track view. Clash, strategy, custom. What embeds have we got? We've got block accepted. That's the one I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, block accepted. And that will tell you if it's been accepted. Now, here's the thing. We've got row block. If I select the row here, you can see immediately it's changing. 5, 7, 8. Mm-hmm. And if I select a block, I can see straight away it's selected immediately. If I double click over here, it said that's been accepted. If I double click on a row, on a block, it's not necessarily going to see it. If I double click there, it's not really doing it. And I have to really double click quite a few times to do it. It's not the best. That's because we technically have a, not that, sorry. I need to open up that one. Now, I open up the report control, and it doesn't support double click on a block, if you will. Where's the report control itself? Report column, report control. So we look down the events. No, it's none of them. So let's open it up myself. Here's one thing. Successful lib source, won't be a second. Just looking at this for you. Okay. Now we've got one called block accepted. That's where you put your code.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it doesn't actually support block accepted. Not like row accepted. So I can say a hyperclick's happened, or there will be a row. We have a look at row accepted, and we can see here that's on row double click. Perfect. You've double clicked on a row, I can tell you straight away. Go back to the block accepted, and they don't actually have it. The best I can do is trap it on the mouse down and basically measure the time interval between the last double click, the last click, and the next click. So I do have that as a parameter which you can tailor to your own, your own selection, if you will. I'm trying to think where that property is. So press no. There, double click rate. So there is a double click rate. So you might have to fine tune that. But all of that is only going to get you to the block selected. Block selected or block accepted, which is the thing you were saying a second ago. What I might be able to do then is I have to measure a thing called a hit test. So let me just run the example. It's getting a bit complicated here, but where are we? Nope, sorry, wrong one. Anywhere on the control, so if I click here, there, me clicking there will cause a row to be selected. Me clicking there, a block to be selected. All very good, but the hit test still actions as well. Okay, now I'm using the hit test to see if you've double clicked on a block, like so. I could also intercept you double clicking on a non-block, but still within the track bar area. As long as I can detect you are in a track bar area and you're not on a block, then I could give you the equivalent of a new block, which is what you'd want. Instead of block accepted, you'd want I don't know what I'd call it, but I could create you a new method.
That would be great. I mean, if we can do that, because it's just that they're coming from a previous scheduler, and so they're saying,
it does make sense. It makes sense. So what we're saying here is in the hit test, we want it on the track control, and it really comes down to if I can detect where they've hit. I know it sounds very vague, but it really does come down to what. So I can see a block, a column, the hit test, and the item. Returns the X and Y coordinates, track position, returns the current timeline track position. That might come in handy, the track position.
Okay.
Do we intercept track position at the moment? No, I just pass it as a parameter. But you can see here, I'm saying if the row object, okay, so that's else. So have you double clicked on a block? Oh, hang on, you should have it. You should have one called new block. Yeah, sorry, you should have one called new block. Let's just try it. That might be, you might already have that functionality built into it. You got a method called new block? Yeah, new block. So I'm going to just put a message up. Message, new block. Param, it's going to have a row. New block on at param position. So it gets two parameters. So let's just try that, and that might be all you need.
Okay, cool. Let's try it.
Let's just try it. Just closing down the other Clarion, won't be a second.
If it didn't work, we can try it next time. I don't want to keep you too long.
This might be, this might be because the the things I'm working on here, yeah, it would be. But let's like that. Track new block at row 10 at 0. Don't know if it was 0 to be honest. Let's try over there about 40 on row 7. Okay, trap position isn't giving us anything, but at least we can see. That said, we would need the trap position on that. Wonder why the trap position isn't showing us. So that's just not returning us the trap position back. So it might be that I have to work it something different. So the new block, so you could put your code in at least ready on the new block, so you can see it's down to the double click rate, of course, but at least you're going to get the right row. I will just have to have a look at calculating that trap position. Return the current position. We're going to track control item. Because there's no. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, because there's no track control item. That's an item, but there is no track control item. So I'm double clicking there. It hasn't got one. If I was to double click on that, God, the double click really is a bit intermittent. Oh, sorry, no, I'm not putting a message up. So, but that would return you. So we'd have to work out the trap position via a different mechanism.
Well, I mean, Andy, if it starts a new reservation, for me in this case, it would be a reservation or booking, with just the first parameter, I have to see, is the first parameter, is that the time?
No, it's the row. So i.e. there. So it's that's row 8. Sorry, that's row 3. So 3, 4, 5. So if I double click on it, I expect you to say row 5.
Row 5, I see.
They are rec 05, 6.
Or okay, at least it will. I could start the reservation with
which one of these, if you will, and then I can see about fine tuning that.
Yeah, it'll work for me. So that's basically it. Can you go back to that embed point and just do a quick?
The embed point is there. New block.
New block. Okay. Then you said param row ID param position. Okay. So the position is nothing. Okay, I got it. I think I can get it started, and then we'll go from there. I'll let you go.
Okay.
Right, thank you.
Right, I shall go. Oh, hang on. Now, let me check. Today, next week is a public holiday again in the UK. We in April and May we have loads of public holiday. Well, not loads, but we have a few public holidays on a Monday, and then we don't have it any more until one in August. I'm not sure if I'll be doing it or not. I will check with Wendy, who of course is the boss. I will check to see if we have any plans. If I don't have any plans, I will gladly do the webinar. If not, then we might schedule it to the Tuesday or something like that. I will check what the schedule is, and I will let you know ASAP. I'll put it on the Skype chat.
Thank you.
Okay. Right, Michael, I will still do that zip and get it across to you now before I leave. So watch out for the zip any minute now. Okay, thank you everybody. Until next time, I shall see you then. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.